feels like a talk show. We need some cheesy talk show music to start us off. I think I just like the way that feels, even though sometimes it cuts off the blood vessels and I get a little woozy, but okay.
Makes you feel old school.
Tuck in your gut like me. I'm just kidding. Bobby doesn't have a gut.
Yeah. I just ate, so.
I did too. I'm like, that's a bad idea to just chow down. I had like 6 meatballs at Byerly's. So.
Oh, I just had a bunch of that Costco thicker macaroni and cheese.
I had a little, okay.
So it's just all kind of just sitting there.
Is it as thick as Velveeta cheese?
Yeah.
Mac and cheese. All right. Well, we never have an official start, so let's just start, I guess.
All right.
So why are you here?
I'm here to talk about years of lessons, I think.
And then at the end, you're going to do like you're going to play Eruption and wow everybody with your skills?
Or I might play an Angus Young solo.
That'd be cool. Yeah, we could jam out. No, I thought about that, but it's too much work to set up at the last second. So I'll just
have to cut one of the videos in.
Yeah, I will. I'm going to splice a lot of the Pitch Fever band in there so we can show what you can do, in action. But thinking about 25 years or close to 25 years, quarter of a century of coming in to lessons. I was like, that is crazy. And I asked people what kind of questions they want me to ask you. And I think we're going to do that for the most part.
All right. Fire away.
And the video behind you is being played just for ambiance because we're both like nerds of the 80s and 90s. So it's like, I love the VHS stuff. We've got cassette tapes here. I want to grab them and ask you a question about them because you're the one who gave me these cassettes. Like Bobby showed up and he had 30 cassettes in a box?
Yeah, in a box. I had to do something with them because unfortunately I don't have a tape deck anymore.
Yeah, you don't have one of these.
I don't have a boom box, and I was probably one of the last people to have a tape deck actually in his car.
It's like, okay, Grateful Dead.
Yep, in the dark.
Was it Touch of Grey on this one?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so my stepdad loved the Dead. He was a Deadhead. He used to go see him, and, he was kind of a biker dude, But I didn't get into the Dead until Touch of Grey came out. So I'm one of those poser guys,
As long as you like them.
I do. I like the vibe,
friendly.
but I never really got deep into them like a lot of people do. And the crazy part is that I was so used to the recording of Touch of Grey that when I heard the live version of it, I hated the sound of their live version. I thought it was a different band. It didn't even sound the same.
But a friend of mine, her sister and boyfriend and had all these like live Grateful Dead and like you
bootlegs
said,
and stuff.
Bootlegs and stuff. And it's not the same because I'm like, when are the words going to kick in? I don't have 20 minutes to listen to one
20
song.
minutes just opening the song, and then finally somebody says, "Must be getting early,"
Yeah, my semi-horror story with the Grateful Dead is I went and saw them in '94. And it was a great show. And then my buddy called me up in the summer of '95. And he's like, I got tickets for Sunday. Let's go to see the Grateful Dead. And I said, I got to work on Monday because he wanted to go to see the Dead and then drive back all night from Chicago.
And you have to work the next day?
I had to work Monday. And I'm like, I'm just going to see him next time. And then Jerry died.
Damn.
But at least I saw him.
Wow. So what city did he actually pass away in?
Well, that was one of his last concerts in Chicago.
That was it. Okay. Dang. It's so crazy because whenever older band tours now, I feel like you have to go see them because you never know. And so I want to see Heart again, but they're here the same day Metallica's here. It's coming up. And I bought those pit tickets. So we're going to be like Chris Blood and I are going to be in the pit or whatever. But I'd love to see Heart again. You never know when someone's last show is going to be. It's kind of crazy. But at least I got to see them live once,
Yeah.
Would have been really cool to see them back in the day when tickets were like $12 and Roger Fisher was in the band and stuff, But okay, ready? I just chose 5 random cassettes, and you just have to tell me if there's a story with you, okay? John Mellencamp. What's the album called?
Oh, uh-huh. I don't know if there's a story with that one per se. I mean, my older cousin was a big Mellencamp fan, and he had that one, so that is probably where
see what the
that
hit
one
songs were.
I think that's got...
Soul Asylum's behind you.
I think that's got... does that have Jack and Diane?
It's got it's got Pink House is Crumbling Down, Authority Song. This is a huge album.
Yeah.
Because I remember American Fool is the one that had Jack and Diane,
yeah.
Hand to Hold On To, and my aunt used to play it when she babysat us. We'd all dance and stuff, so good memories attached to that. Holy crap, talk about hits, 4 hits in a row.
Yeah, that was a great one. I think that might have been. No, I don't think that was the Columbia House record deal that I got. I think I actually went out and bought that one on its own.
So you actually own the one you have. These ones you still owe money on. If it's
Yeah,
if it's
probably.
BMG, Scarecrow. I'm sorry, I just chose two.
I was gonna guess that the first one was Scarecrow.
Okay.
Scarecrow because of the song "Rain on a Scarecrow," and it's about the country and the farm, and it reminds me of being with my cousins and my grandma because the farm I thought was the greatest thing under the sun. So, but the Scarecrow always makes me think of the Relatives.
Okay, makes me think of Children of the Corn.
Well, my older relatives, my older cousins would watch that, and then they would dare each other to go out in the cornfield. But I was too much of a wimp to watch the scary movies.
I would have yelled Malachi. Really loud.
So I didn't. I never watched it. I watched maybe a little bit of Friday 13th with them, but.
So we're not going to connect on the horror movie topic, I take it.
Well, as I got older, I watched a few more, but no, probably. I mean, I know I got the basics down of them, but I don't have any deep understanding.
I mean,
of them.
when you grow up and we did, it's like you can't help but see the gnarliest of the gnarly back in the day. You know,
My favorite. I mean, I wasn't a horror movie person, but my favorite one was Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
And I went to Spencer's and got the poster of.
I just went there yesterday. I went to Northtown.
Is there still Spencer's?
Yeah, it was Hot Topic and a Spencer's, I believe.
And I got the Freddy Krueger poster.
Yeah.
And I hung it on my wall. And at night, it had a weird shadow, so I had to take it down.
Oh man,
I don't even know what I did. I think I had it up for like 2 days and then rolled it up and put it in the closet or something.
when you're a kid, anything could be scary. Like when I was into Kiss, I bought Unmasked and it came with a poster, and they're basically holding a mask of their own faces out to you on the poster. And my brother screamed bloody murder the first time he saw it because he was like younger than me, so my dad made me take it down. But stuff's freaky. Speaking of freaky, Poison.
Open up and say, ah.
Remember the uncensored cover with the tongue?
Yeah.
That was actually pretty freaky looking, and they made them censor it. They said it was too demonic or something.
Really?
Yeah, this must
I
have
did
been
not know that.
Satanic Panic days or something. But
So, too bad I don't have the uncensored one.
yeah,
I do. Speaking of that, too, my sister got me into Poison
really,
because she had Look What the Cat Dragged In.
that's classic.
Yeah, but speaking of, I do have the uncensored CD cover for Amorica by the Black Crowes.
With the hair?
Yeah.
Nice. People might not know what we're talking about, but this Black Crowes album, and this is what, their third or fourth album?
I think it was their fourth album.
Okay. And it was like close up on a girl wearing like panties, and then her stuff was hanging off the
I think
side.
it's a bikini.
Yeah, like
American flag bikini.
Yeah. I don't know. It just grabs your attention, obviously. But then you're like, I can't believe they showed that, you know? And then what did they do? They put just
They blacked out everything but the bikini,
okay, that's lame.
so it just looks like a bikini floating in space.
Because I worked at Sam Goody when that came out, and I remember looking at it like, whoa. Okay, last one, then we'll get to the questions. And we'll talk about why you're here a little bit more, because, you know, I think that's what people want to know. Quiet Riot.
Quiet Riot. They were sixth grade. They were huge. My friends and I were big metal fans, and like the buttons,
Yeah.
we had all I had that button
I
on
did
my
too.
jacket.
I was super proud of it.
Yeah, it was yours. Mine was square, I think.
Mine was small and round. But I
And
remember
we would argue against one of my friends in sixth grade. There was some of us on the side of AC/DC
Yeah.
was the best, and then he was on the side of Motley Crue was better. So we
Okay.
would.
that stuff was
lock
really
horns.
important back then. You had to be on the right team, it seemed like, you know.
But we still all appreciated the metal, and we could agree that we all like Quiet Riot, but they weren't in the same stratosphere, I guess, as
you're
the
right.
AC/DC. And I liked their album after this, Condition Critical, better.
See, Bobby's like a beat. We always talk about, like, would we call it before?
B-side?
The B-side guy or whatever.
Yeah. I always like I flip the album over. That's what I say. Flip it over.
Yep.
Listen to the other side.
Well, that's why you got me into listening to like entire albums again. I did a whole challenge where I listened to just AC/DC for like, 1 week, I think, straight, because I'm like, I'm sick of going through my playlists and listening to all the hits. Like, I want to go deep on some stuff.
And there's so many better songs that the radios didn't play.
I'll have to have you in when I do my video about the lost art of letting like songs grow on you. Got to come up with a good title. But
I was in the car with somebody, and we were going someplace, and I was like a couple seconds of this song, and then to the next song, and then I'm like, can we just listen to the whole thing?
Okay, so student for 25 years. These are the questions so far. Justin G asked, "Did you practice?"
I did, probably not as much as I should have.
Yep.
But when I first started, I came with somebody else.
Yep.
Because that's how I got started.
We should probably talk about, would he be okay if we talked about him a little bit?
Sure.
Okay.
He'd be fine. Maybe then he'll pick up the guitar again.
Maybe. Let's just call him Jay.
Yeah, we'll call him. We'll call him Jay. When I first came with Jay and we did team lessons or group lessons, and Jay was a much better guitarist than I was. He knew what he was doing and I didn't know what I was doing. So we kind of...
He was already in bands, right? At that point?
He was in band. He had a record.
Yeah, that's right.
And he knew what he was doing, so he could play, and I couldn't even tune the guitar.
You were like the wide-eyed friend, like, ooh.
Yeah, I was the one. I want to do that.
Yeah.
So we were asking different things.
Yep. It was weird having 3 people in that little tiny room, by the way, the little closet, basically. And then we all fit in there somehow. And then Jay would ask something, and then you'd have another question. And for a while, we were doing double lessons.
Yeah.
But I thought for the most part, we were all going to be working on the same songs. But over time, your interests in different ththings changed. And all of a sudden, you were asking different things.
Yeah, and he needed something else, and I needed something else, and things like that. So I did, like I said, I didn't practice as much as I should have. But then as years went on, and we were in the band, then I definitely practiced more.
That's why I love doing the band stuff, because it really made my students want to go to that next level, because you don't want to embarrass yourself in front of the group. So all of a sudden, instead of just, fessing up to me that someone didn't practice. By the way, by that time I was so jaded, I didn't care anymore. Like, I don't want to hear any excuses, not just from you, but from everybody. But then to have them, join the band, they're like, oh, I don't have the song down, and the whole band is let down. That's never fun. So,
No.
Yeah, you really, I don't know, something happened as soon as you knew you had to learn like 12 songs in a row.
Yeah, and then it kind of gave you focus.
Yep.
Because I know before with the practicing, I'd come in, I'd be like, I want to learn this. And then next week, I'd be like, I want to learn, because then I would have ADHD, and then I would be like, I want to learn this song, and I'd hear something else, and I want to go this way. And
that's why sometimes just having, I don't want to say a leader, but somebody to say, hey, we have to have this by next month or whatever, seems to be good for musicians. Because as musicians, we tend to, put
Lose
things
focus.
off and focus on too many things maybe at once. But.
Speaking, I should have brought in, because I still have all the books of all the stuff that from lessons, and you would like scratch this thing on a piece of paper, and I'd put it in the book. And
how much paper did I go through back then? Dang.
It's all in my book. We can count it.
Talk about bad tab. I probably like screwed up so much because I had to learn it on the spot and figure it out.
I was impressed by that. Like, I was blown away just by, and I would tell everybody, I'd be like, I can go in, I can give this guy anything. He just listens to it once, and he's just like, and I was like, wow. Because again, with the practice, I found out if I would come and ask something and it was too hard, I'd be like, I gotta find something else to ask.
Let's do some Mellencamp this week.
Let's do something easier.
Okay, David G. What life lessons did your student learn from you while taking guitar lessons?
That's a tough one on the spot. But I mean, life lessons is about, you taught me about, being in a band and being on stage. Because when I was on stage as a kid, playing the violin, it was different than being on stage playing.
Definitely. We both did violin in school. That's right.
Playing guitar. But then, we talked about all sorts of things in life.
Yeah, a lot of lessons ended up being just like discussing things and, connecting. And it was a lot of fun because the guitar was there, but it was just a means to get us like talking in a weird way. So we communicated through music, but then we'd be like, oh, did you see this? Hey, what are you, what's the band doing? And then because we had all these experiences playing live, we could talk about that all day.
Yeah.
Be like, I can't believe that lady, passed out on the dance floor or whatever. I don't know.
That was funny.
What does when does the student surpass the teacher?
Well, I can't answer that. I can tell you, I'm not going to surpass this teacher.
That's probably because I keep trying, though. Some teachers give up and they just, I teach now. But for me, I keep trying to sharpen that sword, you are. I mean, every time I come in here, you blow my mind with something.
new that you're doing. And
That's what I practice for, to blow your mind every week. It's like, Bobby's coming in. I gotta get this down. No, I'm just
gotta
kidding.
get something new out there. Yeah.
But we just kind of talked about, younger generation surpassing, even their teachers. It's just like it gets to the point where you're like, anything's going to be possible in the future, especially when we start connecting our brains to the computers and all that.
I don't want to be the teacher. I want to be the student. I want to get to play with the teacher.
Yeah.
And I think it all depends on your goals. If that's your goal to surpass the teacher, I guess that you'll surpass the teacher. But
yeah, it depends. I've seen people try to do that in martial arts, and sometimes it works, but sometimes it seems like a goal that I don't know if it's a hollow goal to want to surpass the person who's teaching you, because it's like, maybe surpassing is the wrong word. Maybe you just want to learn as much as you can from them and then move on or something.
And I think the only way that you would surpass the teacher is if they stop doing it.
Right.
Because once you come to them, they've already got this wealth of knowledge, experience that you're never going to catch them. The only way you're going to catch them is if they stop.
What's weird about jiu-jitsu, though, and sports, is if they're really knowledgeable but their body can't do it, the student can defeat the teacher, but it doesn't mean they have more wisdom. It might mean that their body is just working better. What's your favorite game that you're number one in?
Galaga.
Galaga, okay. I never know how to pronounce that. So what kind of was that? Because when you were a kid, you played it all the time? It's all we really had to do.
Yeah. I was really good at it as a kid. I remember, actually, my friend that I used to go to the arcade with, he was even better at me than that one. But we had limited options. So the arcade we went to had maybe 9 video games and 2 pinball machines and maybe dome hockey. And that was like a staple video game. Like other ones like Tempest would come and go and Dragon's Lair would come and go.
Yeah, Dragon's Lair was like people thought it was just like the next level of video games.
It was visually superior, but if you sat down and really thought about it, you really weren't doing anything more complex than you were doing in these other games.
You were just seeing like a little blip of a light and then doing that. But yeah, it was so crazy, and I died so many times in that game. I just gave up.
Oh, I liked to watch one of my friends play because he sunk all his money in it and he could beat it.
Okay,
and I'd miss the blip and I'd go this. I mean, he could tell me. I could maybe make it through the first round, and then the second round where you had to do the exact same boards all over again were just faster, and I didn't have a chance.
Oh, I never even made it that far.
Yeah.
Really? They just looped it?
They just looped it, and they were just that much faster.
I just remember the skeleton guy standing up with his arms crossed, like, you lose,
Or the elevator when you're like, and you had to hit it, and I'd fall off of that thing.
Man, I just went to Northtown a couple days ago, like I said, and it was just sad. You walk through and they have an arcade, but it's more of a prize arcade.
I can't stand
it's
those.
Like spin the wheel. It's like, where are all the real arcade games? And I guess they're just
the only thing that's worse than the prize arcade ones is when you go up there and you put your quarter in and it's like, you get 90 seconds. I don't want 9. I want 3 guys.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And if I can last for more than 90 seconds with 3 guys, let me last. I don't want to have to put another quarter in after 90 seconds to continue your game.
I don't think I've even played a game like that. Is that like at Dave & Buster's they do that or something?
Dave & Buster's, I think it was, I remember probably after they got away from those kind of, or
the stand-up one, yeah.
Those kind of games, when the next level where they figured they could make more money if you had to keep pumping tokens into them.
Everything just seems to be a bunch of people that get together and discuss how they can squeeze every cent out of everybody. And it's like, okay, that's when they started making games 50 cents. Remember that?
Yep. Oh yeah.
And then the dollar thing, you could put $1 in there.
The dollar thing.
Yeah. It's just
I remember I watched my buddy put a $20 bill in there. I was like, I can't believe you know what we could do with $20?
You know what the best feeling was putting a $5 in the quarter changer.
Oh yeah, and then all the tokens came out.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm rich. That was a great feeling, but man, that was good stuff. Well, I was gonna bring up the band because people were kind of asking about, do you play live and all that? Like, what did you start? Like, what went through your head when you knew you were gonna be on stage in front of an audience?
I was really freaked out when you said we need you to play because I didn't think I was good enough to play.
I just kind of recruited you.
You're like, we need a rhythm. You're like, oh, you can just stand in the back. We won't even put strings on your guitar. Just stand there.
We conscripted Bobby, just because we needed somebody.
So yeah, I was really because I didn't know what to expect, and and stuff like that. But the first show, I was nervous. I was very stiff and didn't move. I probably looked like I was petrified up there,
Just
but
staring at your sheet music.
staring at the music. But then it got easier, and you feel. I think once you get in the flow of the music, it just kind of. So I can admit that I've lost myself in the flow of the music sometimes and realized I was doing the wrong thing.
That's all right. I mean, we just turned you down anyway.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Well, it was hard when I was just playing C the whole time.
Yeah, it's true. That was our running joke. It's like, don't worry, just play a C, Bobby. It's okay. What's crazy though is that you got to learn what it's like to not have second chances. Like you're on stage, you just get through it no matter what. It's like pushing you through. You can't go back and start over usually. And you got better because of that, I think.
Yeah.
You were like, after a while, I remember looking at you and you're just smiling and your chords are changing automatically. Whereas before you had a lot of trouble like trying to nail the next change.
Well, I was so worried about, I was overthinking it, as I think was what I wasn't just being part of the music and feeling the music. I was just overthinking it like it was a math problem or something. And
yeah, you're thinking like technically playing
Yeah.
guitar. Yeah, I don't know what happened, but it's like a light switch went off and all of a sudden you locked into the music in a way that you never probably would have if you just sat in a lesson room.
Yeah. Well, then I was worried about, too, I remember like, oh, they're going to hear me make mistakes and things like that. And then after a while, you realize it all kind of blends, unless you do something completely obvious.
Unless you start the song or something.
Yeah.
You're doing the intro and screw up. Yeah, you're right.
That it all just kind of blends together. And
Well, that's the good part. I mean, even the later versions of the band, having Dylan play bass, it's like bass isn't his main instrument. So he had a lot of learning to do. And the next thing you know, you're not the new guy anymore. You're not the one freaking out. You're like, oh, I want to be confident for this person, help them out. And then we changed drummers. Like it was wild there for a while.
yeah. And then once you realize, well, everybody makes a mistake here and there. And then that's something you talked about afterwards.
That's
and
true.
And then you find out that nobody else even realized that you made a mistake and you didn't realize they made a mistake. And
Sometimes when you play, you think you had your worst show, the audience comes up and they're like, that was incredible. And then other times you think you had a great show and people are like, oh, you guys sound a little off today. So you never really, it's hard to tell from the stage sometimes. But I think we were firing on all cylinders for a while. If people don't know, it was a band called the Pitch Fever Band. It was made up of pretty much all students. So the singer was my friend, but he actually learned guitar from me, Mike Lott. And then Christopher eventually joined, and he's my friend from Sanctus. But everybody else, Sandy, it's just like everybody was a student of mine, came together, formed a real formidable band. And we were playing like some legit places around here.
yeah, we had a lot of fun.
Yeah, we never had anybody come up and go, are you guys like an amateur band or students or something? They always just thought we were just another band that was like professionally playing there.
They always came and asked, where are you guys playing next?
Yeah, we could have probably had a huge following if we really wanted to do it for real. But what do you remember about like what were your favorite gigs or gig moments?
Non-musical is, talking to everybody either before the gigs or after, or you could see a little bit of nerves before, but then afterwards, how everyone was calm and relaxed. So,
Like a family feel?
Like a family
we're helping
feel.
each other out, yeah.
and how Sandy always used to bring treats.
Oh, yeah. More
And
than
my
treats.
favorite is when we were in Hutch and there's nobody there.
Yeah, dead.
But was it somebody's birthday? Because she had cupcakes or something.
Yeah, Sandy always brought us interesting things. One time she brought us condoms.
Yeah, I was going to say the party favors.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm a little less subtle. But yeah, I was just like, all right. Because she worked, well, I don't know if we should talk too much about Sandy's jobs or any job or anything, but she had access to them. And so we're like, oh, thanks,
Yeah, she in all different colors.
They're still in my wallet. I'm just kidding. But I
So,
thought you were going to say flavors. That would have been so funny.
but that was fun, just talking to everybody and how everybody thought about the show and how excited everyone was.
The buzz afterwards when you have a really good show, not just because you're drinking or whatever, but even if you're not drinking and you play a great show, it feels like you were drinking because it's just like this adrenaline rush.
Yep.
And then afterwards, like just to, while you play as well and watch the people dancing, which is cool. And I have some footage of us at the our mainstay, which was the American, what was it, a VFW or Legion?
I can never get those two straight.
But we found like a home at this one VFW and we knew the bartender, the wait, everybody knew us. So it was kind of this really cool family reunion every time we played there. I miss that a lot.
I miss that. I mean, because that place was special too, because remember that old couple that always would come for the first, and they would dance together, and Then they would go home and
That's right. Didn't Mike Lott do a dedication to one of them or
Yep.
something? Like played a love song
and then they were always like dressed up too.
yeah,
and-
they were old school where you dressed up when you went out to the ballroom or whatever. So we got to experience you got to experience a lot of stuff that I already experienced being in a bunch of country bands and stuff. But you had the luxury of not having to worry about a lot of crap when it comes to being in a band. Because what did you basically have to do on game day?
Oh, I just showed up with my guitar and said, "Where do you want me to stand?"
Yeah, you could literally show up like 5 minutes before, and we'd be like, "Okay, go." You're
Yeah,
good.
and you just plug me in.
Yep, that's kind of what the whole idea was, though. I didn't want you guys to be bogged down with load-ins, and like if you literally start like somebody was in the band and they like wanted more out of it, basically, and I said, if you want that, just go be in your own band. You
Yeah.
know, like be in a legit. Everybody's equal in this band. You go out and everybody helps out, and I just thought I don't want that for this band because it's like let the people that have been doing this for forever do the technical work and the setup and all that stuff. Let you guys just show up and have the fun.
Just hang out. I think when we first started and we would play, when Joe would organize the gigs, I think we helped more with the loading and unloading the equipment. But then when Chris showed up, because he was technical too, it was
Yeah.
kind of like you guys just took. I mean, we might help carry a box here or there, but then you guys just kind of did everything.
Yeah, and we kind of bond. Like Chris and I have fun hanging out when we do production together like that. So it's kind of part of the deal. But yeah, after a while, it was nice. You guys helped us carry some stuff out. But it's like, you know what? You guys just go home. Just, you know, it was a fun experience. It's just like a good thing for students to learn that anyway. So I think towards the end, though, we could have converted to like a real legit band. But then you got to ask more of people.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe we just had the perfect storm happening.
I think we did have the perfect storm. We just hopefully the storm will come back.
Yeah, if somebody would move back from Texas, good Lord.
Yes.
So more on that later. We'll talk when that begins to happen. But I was going to ask you about people coming out like to see us. You always had like your regulars, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I can't take credit for that. That's my
Okay.
My lovely wife she is the social butterfly, and she will
could spread the word.
She will spread the word, and she will get. We have to thank her profusely because she always filled it up for us.
Yeah. And it was crazy because in other bands, we would have nobody ever show up. We never had followings in any bands that I was in. Sanctus had a little bit of one. But like this band, because everybody was so social in a weird way, we had a lot of people. We packed the place a lot.
Yep.
And so it was scratch my back, scratch yours. Like they would make good money that night and they would sell a lot of drinks. And we kept getting booked because of that. And so it was a perfect situation.
And all the people that my wife told to come, the only thing they kept asking is, when are they playing again? When are they playing again?
Yeah, I think we played enough variety to where everybody liked something. You know, maybe we didn't play metal, but it's like we played a lot of generic songs. But you kind of have to when you play those type of places. But I think we put our own spin on them.
Yeah, and they always wanted more.
I think a lot of it is we are all in it for fun for the most part. But our singer Mike has this presence on stage that's so laid back and fun and smiling.
And really the big announcement for tonight is, for once, we're going to actually plug Bobby in. So can we get a big round of applause for Bobby? He's going to get plugged in for the first time tonight.
It's like if you go and watch some bands, they seem too serious. I think it's because
Yeah.
they're thinking about the money or they just got done loading in and they're just out of it or whatever. But our band, because everybody did their jobs perfectly, like everyone did their role, they didn't overstep. There's no power struggle in the band. You notice that?
Yeah, there was no, and Mike was, he had such a rapport with the crowd, and he was, and he was good at making fun of himself or the situation if
Yep.
something went wrong
Yep.
or we needed to
Self-deprecating.
stall or something.
Yep. Or Mike, tell a story or something.
Yeah.
He always has something to say,
And
But
very interesting and, personable. And
that's a big reason why we didn't keep going after he moved, because like, how do you replace him? It just doesn't work. We tried. Like we had a couple gigs where he couldn't do it, and it just isn't the same.
No.
Like it's good, and if we practiced a lot with some other people, it'd probably be decent. But there's just something. Maybe it's because Mike Lott and I are so tight as friends that that's a good core of a band starts with two people. I think. Look at Kiss.
Yeah.
Look at Metallica, any band where there's like two people pulling the ship or whatever, then everybody else is helping out. It just seems to be a really good combination. I think we had that.
And I think, once Mike left, it wouldn't have been the same, and we would be doing it for different reasons. We were just there to have fun and enjoy and do something we love doing, and you were the right leader to, keep us all in line, because without you, it would have been a disaster.
Well, someone had to yell at Dylan so he would show up on time. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it was fun. The Kiss tributes that we did was a lot of fun. I wish we had video of that. I can't find it.
And then we did the Stones tribute.
Yep. We did a Led Zeppelin tribute, I think, once.
Did we do the Led Zeppelin tribute?
Yeah, I think Elisa wanted to do one, and we just did or was it Pink Floyd?
No, we did Pink Floyd.
Pink Floyd, okay. That's crazy. That's right, because who would have sang? I guess she would have had to sing the Zeppelin. Yeah. We're doing way inside baseball now. But so yeah, just the experience of being able to play. And then our last show was magical. Do you remember? We finally got in to Schuler's, which we've been trying forever, and they just happened to finally say yes at the last possible date we could do, I think, before everything fell apart. So it's like we played it. It's like the place, I think,
the place was packed,
and we sounded really good, and it was just like the perfect send off. If that was our last gig ever, we've done a few reunion shows, but I'm happy with it.
Yeah, it just makes you, when you think back about it, just makes you want to play.
Yeah, I know.
Or it makes me want to play more gigs, because I don't get to play. And like you said, I don't want to just go play with because other people will say, why don't you just go play with a new band? I don't want to play with just a new band. I want to play with these guys.
It's kind of like losing Mike as a singer. It's like, it's really hard to, it's like the formula is so good. It's like new Coke. Why mess with the classic, Why mess with something that's really good? So
and you get to a point where you realize you're doing it because you love doing it, and you're not doing it for these other reasons where you need. Like when I play sports now, I'm more content just playing with a bunch of people I know.
Yeah.
Like the pickup game you used to play as kids, than having to go out and compete with teams from the South or the North or whatever.
People that are super serious and everything. Yeah. I think the older you get too, the less serious you get about things, because you just relax finally. You're like, man, I used to be a hard ass. And you get really good being a hard ass and burning that kind of fuel. But there's something really rewarding about looking forward to it, not for I'm going to kick their ass, but for I'm going to have a great time.
Yeah.
I think that's why a lot of people end up golfing when they get older. They don't care about their stroke. They just want to have a beer and talk to their friends.
I don't know. It still makes me golfing.
That's why I don't play. I know I'd go crazy with it. But is there anything you want to say about?
I was wondering if the questions are more from younger people, older people.
Well, it's weird, but people who visit my channel, subscribers, they're all ages. I talk about old bands all the time. It's kind of like an ongoing joke where it's like nostalgia is really strong with me. So a lot of my older subscribers love that stuff. But I honestly think a lot of younger subscribers that I have, they learn about new music because we talk about it all the time. So a lot of people are like, I would have never listened to Kiss or, this band or that band if you didn't mention it. So
I was thinking, like, a question that popped into my head is people sometimes would ask, why do you take lessons? And we referred to how we both played the violin when we were younger. And, I wanted to play the guitar because there's never really a violin around. And people don't just pick up the violin around the campfire, or the people don't
unless it's Little House on the Prairie or something. Yeah, it's true.
And between that and the piano, I mean, those are the two that are most widely available.
Yep. And that's true. Nowadays, if you pick up an acoustic guitar, sometimes people hate you, but it's like you could start strumming and everyone starts singing. It's a really good way to bring people together, What could you possibly have left to learn after 25 years of lessons, Chris Ryder?
An awful lot.
That's a beautiful thing about guitar or anything that's worth doing, is there's an endless, journey ahead of you. Even if you're like a master at something, the masters know most of all that there's a long way to go no matter what. I love that one. Wasn't there like a cellist that was like 80 years old, and they're like, why do you still practice? He's like, well, I think I'm finally getting decent or something like that. So like people who do things for a long time are usually, they understand that they're in it for life, I think.
And for me, I have so much more to learn. And with the lessons, it just came to mind that I was lucky enough to do all sorts of things. Like I had the group lesson, then I was in the band, and then we did that song. And like all of that, for me, I'm still just at probably the basic intermediate. I mean, there's so much room to go in all of those areas.
Plus, you're a fan of music, so you love, like, from all eras. It seems like you have something you like. But it's like you could spend the rest of your life just learning AC/DC licks or something if you want to. So there's a huge palette of things that you could choose from, and I love that. I forgot about the recording. We actually did recording studio stuff. We did Mike Lott's album, or we did part of it.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about that song that when I was noodling, and you turned it into something fantastic. But
I forgot about that. Yeah,
it's just there's always something more to do with it.
Yep. And I think that's the cool thing about, lifelong lessons. And not that I think, people should always do that. That's selfishly as a teacher, it's a great thing. But besides you, I think Dylan is the next longest student of mine. And he started like 2007 or something like that. So you got him beat by quite a bit. But yeah, I mean, when you look back in those days, did you ever have higher goals in mind of what you thought you wanted to do with guitar? Or did you exceed what you thought you would end up doing?
I don't know if I put a goal on. I just wanted to play because like you said, I had an appreciation for music, and I knew I wasn't going to play the violin like I could play the guitar. So I just wanted to keep that connection to music going. So as long as I could keep the connection going, I was happy with it.
I like that.
And even 25 years later, the stuff that you taught me before is now it's more and more comes together faster and faster.
I love it when you have like a moment in lessons where you're like, oh, okay, that's how it fits together. You just have these realizations pop up every once in a while. It's really cool.
And then the hard thing too, with the practicing is it was like one day a week. And like you said, I'm a teacher. When you do something every day, it progresses a lot faster than.
It's true.
And even when you practice by yourself, it's still not the same as coming to lessons.
Yep. I know there's a lot of expectation for students to go home and dig into it. And it's like when you're in high school and every teacher from every subject thinks that's their only subject. Like, okay, you got to work on this for 2 hours a night. You're like, yeah, but I have 8 other subjects I have to work on. So it's really hard to get people to consistently practice. But I mean, you could just do it your way and just do it for a long time. And over time, that's what I do with a lot of things. It just compiles and you become decent at something.
Yeah, just as long as you're enjoying it still.
I was going to ask you about when you used to bring up requests for our band to do. What do you remember enjoying playing live the most, and which ones did you think were kind of like bad ideas maybe, or not what you expected? Because I feel bad because you probably had the most requests.
Oh, that's all right.
You had the most one hitters. Like we do it once and then it just didn't click or something.
Yeah, well, at least I was just happy we got to do it. Like you said, I have such a wide variety of music, and some of the songs that I didn't listen to a lot that you brought in, like I really enjoyed playing Dead Flowers.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed playing Suspicious Minds.
That's funny because that's Mike Lott's stuff and Joe's stuff. It's like everybody got a say in the band, which is really cool. And certain things became mainstay songs. Other ones just kind of came and went, like Red Solo Cup. I think we did once.
Yep, we did that once.
But you always had like a cool suggestion.
Well, a lot of the things with my suggestion is you always wanted me to sing those things. And I'm still, more that I have to learn is learn how to sing.
Well, a few times on stage, you would sing backup and kind of like shadow mic, and sing backup.
I'd get in the zone and it would flow. But that's where playing guitar now, I'm not nervous to get up on stage to play or play in front of people. Yeah. But like singing, I'm still not.
How did you feel when we were down to maybe sometimes 4 people in the band? Skeleton crew.
That was fun. I mean, because it was the originals.
Yeah.
So I as long as the original family's there,
you felt the support.
I felt the support. I felt that, I think later on it wasn't as big of a deal as earlier on.
Yeah.
Earlier on I was like maybe more nervous because then people are actually going to hear me
That's true. More space to hear your mistakes.
Yeah.
Didn't think of that. I've found ways over the years to like sound bigger, just through effects and play certain chords. If Berg isn't there playing the other part, I have to do his part too, kind of find a way to do that. And I think we were able to like fill the space pretty well, even if we had barely anybody on stage. So any last thoughts about a quarter of a century of lessons, and any advice you give people?
One thing I wish, and I give advice to these guys, is take pictures of it. I wish I had more pictures of, like when we were practicing as a group.
True, yeah. I feel very blessed with Sanctus, my old metal band, that Tony, my stepdad, used to videotape every show, basically. So we have some footage. I'll put it in the video, but I really wish we had more.
Yeah, I wish we had more behind the scenes footage too.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of it was just the fun stuff, the condom stuff.
Yeah.
Show all the gifts that Sandy has brought us over the years. Cake and condoms.
The CC.
All right. Well, appreciate 25 years, man.
Yeah,
That's
we'll do
super
25
cool.
more.
Yeah, that's kind of scared me when you said that. Like, how old are we going to be? Yikes. We'll be in wheelchairs doing another video.
No, by then we'll have bionic legs. And
Yeah, well, I hope so. All right. Well, thanks again, Bob. We'll probably see you at lessons next week.
Sounds good.
All right. See you guys.
RIFFIN.